Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Timothy Rushin, and this is the course How to Get Out of Debt and Go Positive in Income. First off, I would like to thank everyone for getting into this course and showing your support for me. Greatly appreciated. I mean, even if there was just like 5 people that showed up, like, holy cow, I got 5 people. So thank you for that. This is about take number 5. I've done this literally 5 times. So hopefully this works, and I think I got everything figured out by now. But just because I did this 5 times doesn't mean I'm going to be fluent at this slideshow either. This is my first slideshow, so let's get started. How to get out of debt. When I moved into Nebraska back in 2012-ish, I was shortly greeted with some debt that I was not aware of. Due to a relative's misguiding direction, I had already accumulated several $1,000s in bills that were already in collection. I was crushed. I was rather upset that I had to start off with a disadvantage. I probably had at least 6 grand total in some 6 grand in total while working at McDonald's. That may be minuscule to some, and it could also be very nerve-wracking to others. Turns out there's a ton of information on how to strategically dig yourself out of debt. So here is my version and how to achieve that goal. Simple and straightforward. Just to touch on that, I didn't have this information when I was getting out of debt while I was working at McDonald's making minimum wage. 6 grand hanging over my head. I was stressed out. I was super stressed out. I was very disappointed, just upset, a little bit of anger there. I was young, but very upset. But now I know I have that information. I want to pass that along to someone else and be able to reach out to someone else, like another young person like myself, and be like, hey, there's options for you. Let me break it down. Simple and straightforward. Like I said, minimum wage with 6 grand in debt. What I did was I saved a good chunk, and they would come out of the woodworks. They would call me like, "Oh, Timothy, are you Timothy such and such?" They found out where I lived, all that shit. Excuse my language. I'll try not to cuss here. But they came out and was just like, "Hey, we know where you live. This is where you at." And I'm just like, "Hey, I don't know anything about this. I was framed, or I was misguided." It's like, well, prosecute them. It's like, well, I'm not gonna prosecute my family, so that's out of the option. So I sat there and paid it all. I paid it all off. There was like 3 grand in student loan debt that I didn't even know. I vaguely remember that I was signing something or I was trying to get enrolled in something. And I know I got like a little bit of money off of that. I got like $200 and I burned it all in one day at GameStop. But of course I was just like, oh, dude, I got $200. Like, that's great. And the other person, they end up getting like a couple grand from FAFSA or whatever. And I'm just like, whoa, like now that I think about it, it's like, man, that was really messed up. But I paid $1,000 to Cox Cable. I recently just paid them $300 more on top of that. It was $700 initially because they were on my credit, and they were jacking me up, and so I paid them $700 all at once too, and it was me saving up my money. And then I moved back to Arizona just recently, and I needed internet, and they were saying like, "Oh, somehow you owe us $300 and I was just like, "You guys are not even on my credit anymore. How do I owe you more money on top of that?" And then they were just like, "Oh, well, they couldn't explain it to me, but I ended up paying through the nose anyway, just because Cox is the #1 internet provider in Arizona, and it blows everything out of the water. So it was unfortunate, but I did it anyway. Gave them another $300. That's how they get you. Building a small savings. You want to have a small savings in your account, a just-in-case pile of money depending on how you live. Example, if you live in Shatter, Nebraska, you may want a small pile of money, maybe around $500, or if you live in South Dakota, you'll need maybe $750 for safety. Or even in Arizona, like myself, with a little bit higher cost of living, you may want $1,000 in your small savings pile. Like I said, a just-in-case pile. Like, say if your tire blew out while you were driving on the freeway there, I mean, that's $200 right there, or whatever, or however much, plus towing or whatever. Like, you want something that will protect you for small things, and this is only what this pile is for. It's for, excuse me, small things. You do not want to spend this money, nor do you want to add to this pile. You need all the rest of your money for the next slide here. Chunking your debt. Chunking your debt. My store manager used to always say, anyone can eat an elephant. You can't do it all at once. You got to eat it in pieces. As long as you're moving forward, you will already be making headway. You also have to remember that debt can outgrow you if you pay too little. That's interest at its finest. Most millennials will die in debt. I will repeat that. Most millennials will die in debt if they don't do anything about their current situation. Don't be a part of that statistics. We are out here getting scammed all over. Corporate is messing with you and overloading you with crap that you won't you'll end up buying, and you don't really need it. What I'm getting at is we need to be able to ask yourself, do you need this or do you want this? Then throw all the extra money towards your debt. Throw all that extra money to your debt. The point is like there's so many ways that mentally we are manipulated. Even if you're like, I was driving down the street, I was headed home from work, and I was driving. There's all these restaurants there, and it's just lights and delicious looking food on the outside of the building. They're trying to entice you in. That's what their job is. They're supposed to do that. But they will entice you or with things, or like even the Black Friday event. I never understood the Black Friday event. I never shopped there. I got a TV at some point. It was like a 4K TV for $400, and I split that up with my ex-girlfriend, and we got a TV together. I mean, other than that, Black Friday does not appeal to me just because it does something to people. Like it mentally messes with you because you see this stuff and they're throwing it all in your face. You have deals. Here's deals. Look at these deals here. I'm just like, do you really need that stuff? Like even that TV that I own, that 4K TV, it has not been turned on in probably like 2 months. So it's just sitting there. But I have it, I suppose. And it still works. So it's going to sit there until I have company. At some point in my life, I have company over. Or sometimes I'll try to watch, if I ever try to watch football or something like that. But yeah, do you need this or do you want this? 90% of the time, it's just something that you want. Even even you can apply that to college education. There's a lot of programs, or there's a lot of TV or ads on TV or YouTube saying like, oh, you can get a degree in this field, and they're showing that video to 30,000 people, and then say like 6,000 people in that area just all decide to go for that degree, and then all try to go in that field. Like it's outrageous. Some people are in like $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 in debt just because of student loans, and they have nothing to show for it. So just avoid debt as all possible and pay that off. Pay all that debt off. Just get it out the way. Get that cloud off of you. And like I said, or what I meant to say was, there's a lot of methods of paying off your debt. Like if you look at somebody like Dave Ramsey, he will suggest doing the smallest debt to the largest debt to pay based off of interest or something like that. Or if you look at a Boyce Watkins, or it's like a small debt to a highest debt, and it will mentally slingshot you into, like you're paying off one debt. Oh, you feel great. You pay off another one. And it's small and it's little wins, but you're easing into that bigger debt, and it's going to take longer, but you pay it off and you mentally feel fantastic because you're knocking off the small, big, medium, large, and you're doing it a little bit at a time, but you can see the progress. Or you have somebody like a Dr. Boyce Watkins, where he says pay off the highest interest with the most amount of money, pay that debt off first. And so you don't have to you don't even have to deal with that high interest stuff and get it all down to the baby or the small portions that are taking chunks from you as far as debt goes. But yeah, chunking your debt. Just do it bits and pieces at a time. Bits and pieces. As long as you're moving forward. If you're not taking 5 steps, take 4. If not 4, 3, or etc. As long as you're not taking 0 steps towards your debt, you are doing a good job. So keep going with that. Tips: if you're a long-term couple, you can really start throwing a large amount of money at your debt. Financials can negatively impact your relationship. Relationships, getting your money figured out, it should be high priority. So if you have somebody who is very poor with money, you just try to help them out. Try to show them this course that I'm offering right now. Show them the course. Give them information. Now, if they choose to not do anything with their information or continue their bad habits, then you just need to make that decision. Is it time to move on? There's 7 billion people on this earth. 7 billion people, and I guarantee you, there's like 3 or 4 people that are just like you out there. That is your doppelganger, that look like you, they talk like you, they have the same habits, but you'll never know because who knows where they're at. There's 7 billion of us, you know what I mean? If you want to look at it that way, or just like there's somebody else that will love you more, there's somebody else that'll support you more, like there's somebody else out there for you. There's just about someone for everyone. Sometimes there's not, but that's really small. So there's just about somebody from everyone, and it starts with financials. You know what I mean? So try to build something up with your significant other. Even like just not clear out the debt. Just take it. Just attack it together. Either tackle it. You're splitting up your bills too. You either can help each other out. Hey, I'll pay a good chunk of the bill while you pay off that debt, and vice versa. Just make sure you trust them, and you plan on being in with the long run, and you guys can really knock out a lot of debt together. You're strong as a whole, not separate. Auto saving. If you're a spender like a lot of people, you should not be ashamed. You can save a decent amount of money while still doing all the things you like, of course, in moderation. Like me, you can have an auto save system where you can have a completely different account for savings, and a portion of your check should automatically be deposited in this account. This account should be difficult to access, but easy enough to get into if you were into a crisis. What I recommend is getting an account with Goldman Sachs. That is Goldman Sachs. It's like Marcus by Goldman Sachs. And getting yourself a high interest savings account. They are currently offering 2%. That's not really that much, but it is your money making money just for sitting there. And if you have 6 months worth of savings in that disaster fund, you can collect a little bit of money off of that. Now, if you're an older person, you can remember back in the day where the savings account, the interest on the savings account used to be like 5, 6, 8% on an interest account. I mean, now there's so many people, they can't do that for everyone. So what I found online, if there's anything else out there, please let me know. But if what I found online right now, if you type in high interest savings account, the highest one that comes up is Marcus by Goldman Sachs. So get involved in that, make yourself an account. Have direct deposit set up. Put in like $100 every paycheck. $100 that you will never see unless you looked at it. As far as you know right now, that money doesn't exist, but it's going to be piling up over there, and at some point, you're going to be, I got 6 months worth of savings. Or this can go towards that debt over there. But yeah, it's a great way to save money. Even if you like to burn money, just put a little bit of money aside, $50. Go put it in that account, and have it so it's automatically saved. And you can't get to it, but if you need to, you could. On to the next slide. Establish savings. Now, once you're on a level that you can save at least 3 to 6 months of your living expenses, you can start to invest. A lot of people are very intimidated by investing, but in fact, you're investing right now as you're reading this. Investing in knowledge is extremely powerful. A lot of people think that you have to have a degree to be financially sound, but in a lot of cases, people die in debt because they have a degree in whatever and don't even use it. Or even worse than that, the work that they went to school for does not pay enough to justify the time and money spent on that degree. I'm just saying not all college educations are bad. Just do the research before you make a life-changing decision. Invest in property and stocks are a great option in the long run, but I will go on that and further in debt and further in other courses or whatever. In other courses, like I said, pay attention. Like if you're going to school, pay attention to what you're going to school. There's that one degree that everybody gets into, but nobody ever really does anything. It's like graphic design. Graphic design. I hear a lot of people. I hear and see a lot of people get degrees on graphic design, and they never use it, or or there's so many people with graphic design degrees. Like even though you want to do that, like you also need to make money too. You need to support a family. And your end goal should always be generational wealth. You should always want to give something to your family to progress that your family or whatever. You want to be able to give something to them. So going in debt, going $30,000 in debt to get a graphic design degree and then start working at McDonald's is not a very good decision. It's not a very good decision, and you just wasted $30,000, and then you have to pay that off plus the interest, while not making enough money to pay for it. So again, do the research. We always need doctors, we always need police officers, we always need, teachers. Like if that's your passion, do it. But like I said, do the research, and if there's a way around it, avoid the debt that comes with it. Like I said, you don't need a degree. You don't need a degree to own a business. You don't need a degree to, have, I don't know. There's a lot of things you don't need a degree on. Besides, a degree is honestly just training you to do a job for somebody else. You're not owning the business. You don't get to own a portion. You don't get to reap the rewards. You just get a basic salary for doing this job. And to me, that sounds so just unattractive. As far as like what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like I'm going to progress someone else and make them tons of money, and I just get that little bit of portion, and sometimes I'll kick a little extra money to my way. They have good benefits, but here's a little bonus for you. Here's a little change, even though we're making stupid money on top. You know what I mean? And that's how I feel too. Even though I work for Walmart, by the way. I work for Walmart. I'm an assistant manager. I'm asset protection assistant manager. I love working with people. I genuinely love working with people. Again, I want to start my own business at some point, and I have an idea and I have the basics, but I need more knowledge. I need to collect more information, and most importantly, I need funds right now. I need to save up. So I've been saving. I do want to purchase a house next year, but I need more information, and I need to do more research on this. There's such thing as bad debt and good debt as well. Like buying a house, that's good debt. That's something that'll stick with you for the rest of your life, and hopefully you get to live in that house for the rest of your life, and eventually get to or be able to rent it out to someone. Or if you want to start a small business, that's good debt too, because you're investing. In a small business, you'll pay it back, but you're gonna be after you pay it back, you'll be making pure money, pure profit, and eventually you can build something to sustain yourself, and you can not have to work for a corporation. You can build your own stuff and make your own moves and whatnot. There's so much that I can go into detail about this, but I'm just gonna focus on getting out of debt here today. But let's see what's the next course. Summary. Thank you for supporting me, and even more importantly, thank you for supporting yourself. If you want to hear more about more stuff like this, reach out to me, and who knows, maybe I'll make a course out of it. So again, thank you everybody. Thanks for bearing with me. And I know some of these. I'm not no master writer, but there's something up there. I'll put something on a paper. So thank you. I know there's probably a bunch of typos. There's some bunch of people out there that are masters at English. They're just like, man, you suck. You suck at writing. But I do much better just talking in general. So I was trying to read what I had, and it always doesn't turn out right. But hopefully we got through hopefully it wasn't too painful. And I really hope that you guys should share this information. Even if you're like I said, an older person, please share it with a younger person. Teach them the ways and show them the ways. I just want to create a course that's simple and straightforward and be able to help you in the long run. So, again, thanks for everything and enjoy your day.